Hi, I'm Dr. John Douillard, and welcome to part 2 in our video series of Eating with the Seasons. Now in this video I want to talk to you about the seasons themselves. Now in my book, The 3-Season Diet, and in Ayurvedic medicine, we talk about 3, not 4 seasons. Obviously there are 4 seasons, but there are 3 growing seasons in nature. There's a spring growing season, there is a summer growing season, and there's an end of summer fall growing season that we actually eat through the winter with. And one season, from the growing harvest perspective, is dormant. So there's 3 active seasons that we actually eat from or connect with nature from, and one season is nature. Thus the name of my book, The 3-Season Diet. Thus the name of this challenge, the 3-Season Diet Challenge. I hope that makes sense. Now, why is it important to eat with the seasons? Well, in the winter, for example, it's cold and dry. And if you get too cold and dry, your sinuses dry out, and they produce a certain amount of reactive mucus. That reactive mucus becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and viruses, and you get a cold or a flu. Now, nature had a plan for that. It said, well, it's cold and dry outside, so we're going to harvest not cold and dry stuff. We're going to harvest warm and heavy and insulating stuff, like nuts and seeds. That's why squirrels eat nuts and seeds in the winter, because it insulates them. It lubricates their mucous membranes so they don't dry out. We eat more meats and proteins and fat in the winter, more soups and stews and root vegetables. There are no leafy greens and dry broccoli in the winter, generally speaking. So the idea is that nature is always providing the antidote to each season to keep us in balance. In the winter, when it's cold and dry, we have a higher protein, higher fat diet. Sound familiar? Sort of like an Atkins diet. Okay? In the spring, when it's rainy and muddy, congested, we call it allergy season. Allergy season is the time of year where we all hold on to a lot of water. Go for a walk in the woods and you get muddy feet. The earth is holding on to more water. Nature's antidote to all this water is not to harvest heavy things. It's to harvest leafy greens and sprouts and berries and cherries and some root vegetables that help dry the body out, decongest the body. So nature's antidote for the heaviness and congestion and mucus production of the spring is a diet of low-fat foods, austere dry foods, leafy green sprouts, berries, and cherries. A sort of low-fat Jenny Craig diet, where we have a low-fat diet. Sounds familiar, right? Now, in the summertime when it's hot, we have foods that generally cool us down in perfect sequence. The foods are cooling in nature, so there's fruits and vegetables harvested in the summer to keep us from getting overheated, in the summertime. Now, in the summer, if you allow yourself to get overly heated, you will begin to dry out. So the summer is both hot and dry. So nature said, you really want to make sure that you eat these foods that I provided in season to cool you down. Otherwise, you're going to go into the end of the summer already hot and already dry. Now, nature's got the hot part figured out because it has winter to antidote the heat of the summer. That's completely mitigated. But the hot and dry of summer turns into cold and dry of winter. And that cold and dry of winter is what takes us out. So we become excessively dry. Our skin gets dry, our respiratory tract gets dry, our joints get dry, our intestinal tract gets dry. We dry out, and that causes real problems. So nature had a plan, made sure that didn't happen by giving us cooling fruits and vegetables in the summer, a high energy, long day, short night diet, a high carbohydrate diet, Dean Ornish Pritikin diet. So really when you think about what nature is doing here, it's the 3 best-selling diets that exist on the planet today. A high protein, high fat, low fat, and a high carb diet are actually existing for 4 months of the year. So we have a high protein diet in the winter, a low fat diet in the spring, and a high carb diet in the summer. And if you eat any one of those diets for any length of time, you would begin to crave the other 2/3 of nature's harvest. Nature's nutritional cycle takes a year to complete. You can't get all the foods in one season or even in one day. You have to dramatically shift from more protein and fat in the winter to leafy greens in the spring to high carb fruits and vegetables in the summer. And those fruits generally help the body store extra fructose as fat to help insulate us in the wintertime. It's a beautiful circle of life that we have done a pretty good job disconnecting ourselves from. So it's a powerful understanding, and I'm so excited about having all of us do this together and really glean the benefits of eating with the seasons. Now, how do you connect your body type to these seasons? Well, the rules are very simple. First thing we do is we always eat with the seasons. That's the golden rule in Ayurveda. Eat with the seasons, okay? Then, once you have that baseline of eating with the seasons, overlay on top of that the information regarding your body type. It could even be said regarding your ethnicity, your ability to digest or not digest certain things based on your genetics. So eat with the seasons and overlay your body type information. So what does that mean? I'm a Pitta body type, okay? So I always eat, cooling foods in the summer. I eat, warming foods in the winter, and I eat, leafy greens and sprouts in the spring. I always eat with the seasons, okay? And these grocery lists are in my book, The 3-Season Diet. We have free grocery list printouts on my website at lifespa.com. You can just print them out, and you take the spring list and you eat more of the spring foods in the spring, more of the summer foods in the summer, and more of the spring food or winter foods in the winter. And you dramatically change. And just give yourself permission to eat more of the foods that are in season. Stop thinking about what you shouldn't eat. Start thinking about what you should eat more of and get the connection back to nature. Okay, so I'm a Pitta body type, so the season that makes me nervous or more vulnerable is the summertime. Because I'm a hot guy in a hot season, and if I'm not eating cooling foods, unless I'm eating beer and wine and cheese and spicy foods that aren't really harvested in the summer, I'm going to overheat. I'm going to stack up a lot of heat. So nature said, no. You're a Pitta person. You're a hot, fiery body type. You need to cool yourself down. So that's what I'm going to do. And if you're a winter body type, we call it Vata body type, then you want to realize that that's the season you have to pay attention to. Eat more strictly from the winter balancing, Vata balancing diet in the winter. You're a cold, dry body type in a cold, dry season of winter. If you're eating cold, dry, raw foods and ice cream and milkshakes and cold ice cream and things like that, ice in your drinks, then that's going to make you more cold and more dry. You're going to stack more cold and more dry. And what's nature trying to do always? Antidote the coldest of dryness with soups and stews and meats and proteins and fats. Does that make sense? In the spring, when it's rainy and muddy, I'm a spring body type, heavy, congested, hold on to more water, get more congested, okay? Then the springtime, when it's rainy and muddy in nature, on top of my rainy and muddy constitution, I'm more vulnerable to holding on to more weight, gaining more weight, holding on to more water, getting more congested in the springtime. So for me, a spring body type, we call it Kapha body type, that is a season for me to be more careful. I have to eat more strictly off the kapha reducing, spring reducing diet, which is again available for us on my website for free. Just print out those grocery lists, eat with the seasons, and emphasize your body type in that season so you don't end up stacking either too much heat, too much cold and dry, or too much extra congestion or water. Please join me for this 3-season diet challenge. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, it's completely free. Anybody can do it. Anybody can join anytime. Anybody, even if you start in July, join us. Be a part of this. We'll probably do it every year. I love the idea, and I'm so excited for us all to glean the benefits. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Douillard.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at lifespa.com.